Hello everyone from APL 558 and hello everyone on YouTube. This is Eva speaking here. Today I'm going to introduce a potential tool for English language learning, which is Urban Dictionary. I'm doing this video as a submission to the Courseware evaluation for APL 558, and hopefully you will enjoy this video. So let's get started. Alright, before I introduce Urban Dictionary to you, I do have a few words to say about courseware. According to Professor Hubbard, a courseware should be tutorial, which means the teacher or the tutor is embedded in the app, so that even without the presence of a mentor or a teacher, the learner can be guided by that courseware. A good example of courseware would be, say, Duolingo, which is very famous, and we also have LingQ, and recently we have Busuu. So last week I did a mini research on Duolingo and Busuu, and I realized that all this tutorial courseware, they are sort of similar. In other words, homogenization. And since we already have a bunch of courseware evaluation on those apps, I decided to have my own path. So I'm trying to make this assignment more relevant to my personal research and teaching interest. I'm interested in applications that are not originally intended for or designed as language learning apps, but can be used for language learning, especially writing, because I'm a writing person. So I would say that's a theme running throughout my courseware evaluation. And in my next video, I probably will do an evaluation on Reddit as a potential tool or platform for second language writers. So yeah, that's me and my interest. Now let's talk about Urban Dictionary. It apparently is a dictionary, but if you look at how Google defines it, no, not Google, but Wikipedia. It says, Urban Dictionary is a crowd-sourced online dictionary for slang words and phrases operating under the motto, define your world. So what's interesting about this definition is that, first of all, it's crowd-sourced, which means it's a typical example of Web 2.0, participatory culture, where anyone with an account, you can register one for free. You can create your own entries of words on that dictionary. So that's very important. And secondly, it's a place for slang words and phrases. So it's not an academic dictionary because it captures words and phrases that are buzzing or too new to be collected in an academic dictionary. So yeah, it's a good place for words that your teachers don't teach in a formal academic classroom. Now, technical preview. So Urban Dictionary is a website, and it does have apps on Android and iOS. So it's basically very accessible. But I think if you're in China, it does require a VPN to access. Now, time for the show. Let's have a quick demo of Urban Dictionary, how you use it. In other words, the operational preview of the app, of the website. This is the default display of the website when you land on it. By the way, the URL would be urbandictionary.com. So very easy to remember. And on the front page, you can see word of the day, which means the words that receive a lot of attentions. As I mentioned before, this dictionary is very interactive, so as long as you are registered, you can either vote up or vote down a definition written by other users of Urban Dictionary. And if you do find something that disturbs you, say if you find this word inaccurate or is merely an inside joke without further explanation, or if you find this entry to be inappropriate, you can flag it and report to the moderation team so that they will review your report and decide what to do with this entry. And of course, you can share the word through Twitter, Facebook, or any other ways you feel comfortable with. So I would say the interface is super straightforward. And if you want to browse, of course, there's a list from A to Z. And if you want to check categories, here we have, we can see drugs and internet, which I would say these two are the most popular categories in Urban Dictionary. And we also have name, religion, sex, well, of course, and sports. So yeah, it does involve more professional or insider's language, slangs, jargon in this dictionary. And it also has a store where you can buy mugs or t-shirts with the defined words on it. Let me show you. So yeah, this is the Urban Dictionary store where you can customize your mugs, t-shirt, hoodie, or gator. What is that? I don't know. Coming back to the front page. So you can type any word and check its definition. For example, here is a common word we use on Reddit. It's called TLD. Yeah, so it's called too long, didn't read. So as we can see, TLDR is the abbreviation for too long, didn't read. It usually appears in a reply or as a cue for the summary of a very long text. If you find this text to be too long and you didn't read it, let me give you a much shorter version. And we can see most people vote up for it, which implies that such a definition is sort of accurate and faithful to its context. And when you type a word but there's no definition for it, or if you know a new word that you want to share with this world, you can click this button here and create a new word entry. This is the new word or new entry creation page. So you type the word here and type your definition here. It actually gives you a prompt saying that write for a larger audience. And it specifically reminds you of not naming your friends. I think it's part of their policy. They do give guidance on how you may contribute to the dictionary. And also try to give an example of how you can use this word in a sentence, and also tags. And you may also attach some GIF pictures here. And it seems that they even allow you to choose languages this word comes in, and then submit. So after you submit your definition, it probably takes some time for the moderation team to review. And if it does pass, it will be indexed in the A to Z list. And then so that people can read your definition and vote up or down for it. As you can see, the dictionary is very straightforward. And now let's turn to how we may use Urban Dictionary in our classroom. I'll start with my context. I'm a second language writing person, and I'm teaching first year composition for second language writers. So I teach English 107 and 108. And most of my students are intermediate and mostly advanced English language learners. And I guide them to explore interest-driven sites like Reddit, Tumblr, YouTube, and social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. So yeah, I send them from classroom to online public spaces like those, because the second language writers, they are mostly immersed. Previously, they were mostly immersed in academic English environment, and they're not very familiar with internet slangs. And that's how I found and started using Urban Dictionary in my classroom. And this is how I use Urban Dictionary. In class, I will do a quick modeling for my students to show them the basics of how they may use this dictionary. And also, I list the URL of Urban Dictionary as resources and references for my students. I also have an assignment about it. I want my students to explore Reddit and record all the words they don't know, especially slangs and phrases or they're not familiar with, on their notebook. And then I want them to figure it out, and I want them to tell me how they figure out that jargon, slangs, or professional discourse. So that assignment is called Jargon, Slang, Professional Discourse Clearance. They have to figure out, number one, they have to figure out the meaning of a word, and number two, they have to tell me how they figured it out. So if they use Urban Dictionary, I want them to say, oh, I checked this word on Urban Dictionary, and this is the definition Urban Dictionary gives me. I think it's accurate because it receives a lot of upvotes, or I think it's sort of controversial, because I see several definitions of that word, and it seems that one of the definitions stands out to me, so I want them to write on that. And last but not the least, I want them to, which is optional, I also encourage them to define their own words on Urban Dictionary and promote it in their communities. So if they happen to notice that certain professional words or language in their own discourse communities are missing on Urban Dictionary, they may define that word and give examples for that words on Urban Dictionary. But it's totally optional. And I do want to further envision the use of Urban Dictionary in our classroom. For example, I think it can be used in genre-based pedagogy. If we get students familiar with the genre, define a word based on that website, of course. And then invite students to create new words entries on Urban Dictionary so that we can start with getting students familiar with the rules of Urban Dictionary and let them analyze the most popular entries on Urban Dictionary so that they know what they're supposed to write and how what kind of words might be more popular on Urban Dictionary. And also, I would say that also relates to public writing pedagogy because once approved or your defined words will appear in the index, which becomes public, so that everyone can see it. And they may disagree with you. And they may disagree by downvoting your definition, and you will be able to see that. I would say that kind of feedback is very authentic and valuable. Another use of the Urban Dictionary which I envision is we can use the popular entries with political or cultural references as a hook for students to further explore the background story in multimodal contexts. So let me give you a quick example. So here is one of the word of the day. It's called "We Did It, Joe." So if you check this new phrase or word of the day on Urban Dictionary, we can see other hyperlinks here. That if you don't know who is Kamala Harris, you can check her definition, the definition of her name on Urban Dictionary. And so this definitely has some political references. And my next step would be leading my students to search "We Did It, Joe" on YouTube. There might be videos on that, maybe compilation videos on how many times Harris has said "We did it, Joe." And then using that as a hook, which is sort of hilarious, we can further explore more details about Joe Biden's campaign, so that students can better understand what's cool or what's interesting about this phrase here. Alright, I just did a very quick demo of how we may use Urban Dictionary as a hook for students to further explore background story in multimodal context. I'm pretty sure you can tailor Urban Dictionary to your own to your own use in your own classroom. So if you have any suggestions, advice, or any comments on my video, feel free to reach out to me. I am Eva. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. And this is my email here. You can write to me.